Once cheat, always a cheater. Interact with somebody who actually is, you want what you can't have. Like, the biggest thing I've learned is just to simply go for it, and you'll pick up the pieces later. Because when I first released Night Shift Winter Season series, it had about 196 grammatical errors. Like, when I actually, on the original manuscript, when I published this, the way I write is that you have to actually become each and every character so you can actually write the correct human response to that. Like, 1 minute I'm jumping to the character Alex in one book of mine, another one I have to jump back into, his wife to see how her response is to it.
Hello and welcome to Bisbee and Nepal Talks podcast. Today I have an extreme pleasure to be in conversation with an author. He's written quite a few books. His name is Don Amaro. He is in the process of writing another book, and that will be released soon. And today we're going to talk about his journey as an author and what types of books does he write and what inspires him to keep on writing. Don, welcome to Nepal Talks podcast.
Thank you for having me.
All right. It's an honor to be in conversation with you. Let's begin with what types of book do you write and when did you start writing?
Well, the types of book that I write are all drama based because it takes you, gives you type of breather room from your own reality so you can actually give you a bit of a distraction. And I actually started writing, back in 2009 when I was actually working in security in that time. And it honestly helped pass time because, like I said, when you're sitting there working the midnight shift or like a later shift, it was a good way to pass time. And so that time passed. So there was a hobby, became a passion. I said, you know what? I woke up one day and just decided to start producing and, share my work with the world once, due to encouragement from several peers and family members that were actually crucial in the journey to help me get the inspiration to move forward. So
that is great. What was the first book that you authored?
The first book I actually authored was actually originally titled Night Shift.
Night Shift.
Yeah, because that
goes along with your night shift job.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
in the security. Okay. And what did it entail?
Well, it entails something because around that time there was a movie that came out. It was that actually featured Idris Elba and Beyonce, like where they had a issue with stalking. I do not remember the name of the movie, but around that time it kind of gave me the idea to think about office liaisons, that sort of thing. So it really just kind of sent my creativity into a wave because that type of stuff, office skills, like that's something like really dramatic, something that people can really sink their teeth in. So I started writing line by line and, it just, next thing I know, I looked up and then it kind of grew a life of its own. And so once I saw it kept going, I just kept revisiting, come back into it. And next thing I know, I posted onto a blog, got a lot of feedback from it. And so I decided that inspired me to continue writing it and just kind of branch to like a whole entire anthology. Once I got the short story out the way, then I decided, let me go add a sequel to it, then another sequel until it became, novel worthy. Like by the time I looked up one day. So very, very fun journey it's been on so far. So
that is so incredible. How long did it take for you to finish the first one, the first book?
The first one actually took just only about, I want to say about maybe 2.5 hours or so. It didn't take too long because, like I said, the way I operate is like when the creative juices are kind of flowing, I kind of like dive in and go all into it and just kept writing and writing, until I just saw it to a complete story. Like, okay, I can finally stop here. Like I've told a complete story here and just leave it there. So
it's like, starting the engine and then keep pushing the accelerator on until you reach the destination and you completely come to a halt. Stop. That's
exactly.
It. And then you move on to a new project, new book.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
It's like once I actually got those characters and stuff, they got a life now. It's like the way I write is that you have to actually become each and every character so you can actually write the correct human response to that. Like 1 minute I'm jumping to the character Alex in one book of mine, another one I have to jump back into, his wife to see how her response is to it. I jump and become Terrence when they're having conversations. So that way, it sounds more organic and fluidic throughout the entire creative process. So that way viewers can kind of get a full grip of it. Yes, this will be exactly how, someone responded to each give and take with the dialogue, so that way it makes sense and it keeps readers engaged.
You write about different characters, different stories. There are multiple characters, but you cannot have same level of exposure and experience with those characters. So you have to imagine it. But how do you put yourself into those characters every time? There are different characters. In one book, you delve into multiple characters. Now, on the next set of books, you have multiple sets of characters. How do you gain the experience, knowledge, and the feelings and everything that's needed for that character to come alive in the book?
Well, the answer, simple answer is I gain inspiration from everything around me, from a movie I watched, a show I've seen, just from my real life personal experiences, and also some of my friends and peers' personal experiences as well. And so what I do when I create a character that I know that's going to be long term, has like a sustainable possibility, when I create the personality for the character, I tend to lean towards different traits that I expect the character to have, like how he, and actually based on how I react to that, like given the circumstances that they have. So because of that, that allows to kind of further explore, like gives me more creativity, and just kind of just flows, like as I'm starting to build the character and stuff, like bits and pieces about how he acts, like if is he obnoxious, is he a bit ignorant, is he naive? And so I tend to look and get inspiration from characters and stuff I see from either my own experiences, my friends' experiences and peers, or something I may see on TV, like, yeah, that character acts just exactly like how I'm looking at. And so I kind of take that into context and start building and building on, like it takes me to go back to the drawing board and kind of further build and further scope and cement, like exactly like this is who this person is, this is how they act, this is what they do, this is where they work, and just kind of fully flesh out all the details as I go along. So
that is incredible. Again, as a kid, as a student, right? Did you always have the dream of becoming an author?
I didn't. That's just something that was originally just a hobby that started. But like originally, like I said, when I was in school, I used to draw a lot. Like I would be very
So
abstract.
you were creative.
Yes.
You were already creative in school.
Yes.
But
like,
you didn't have any dream of, being an author, writing anything. Have you written any poem while you're in school? Have
yes.
you written any stories?
Yes, I have. I have to actually give credit to one of my teachers, Mr. Frank Shannon, back when I was in high school, attending Sarasville High School, and he's the one who actually kind of gave me the initial writing mode, because the way it worked is every single morning we come in, he'll write like a very abstract title of a writing assignment each day, because he was a language arts teacher. So the credit goes to him to kind of start the process of me becoming a writer, because I didn't really know, because that forced my brain to like think that level of abstract, like how do you build a story behind it? How do you build a story behind it? Because he'll write a simple topic on the board, like, and then what? And how do you, it took me a while to understand that what he's giving me the platform to do is to pretty much add anything you want behind that. You can start, and then I went here, or then I went there. And so once I understood that concept, I just kind of took it and ran with it. And so I started writing like little short novels that literally went absolutely nowhere, but it gave me an idea of how to create my own body of work that actually builds upon. So that was pretty much how I really learned to how like really get into writing, and once I learned, it became a more enjoyable experience. So that's pretty much where it started.
And you've come along all the way until now. How many books have you written so far?
Actually, it's about a grand total, about 6 books total, because
6 books. Are those all available on Amazon?
Right
what
now,
are those?
Right now, at the present moment, only 4 of them are, because once I actually took a writing class, professional writing class, I decided to go back and rewrite some of my older material to kind of refresh it so it looks more professional. And because that, 2 of my early books that I put out have actually been removed, because I decided to replace those with more titles. That way, that's more communicative to showcase my new grounded experience in writing now of what I learned. So,
out of all those 4 and 6 books, right? 4 already available on Amazon. Which one do you recommend for a person like me who's talking to you? I want to understand you, Don, more, and then I want to read to your book. Give me a name of one book. Which one would you recommend?
Well, my first book that I actually did publish that I rewrote was Night Shift Winter Season Series. And then I came back.
Night Shift Winter Season Series.
Yep. I also have a special edition of it that's out now. I pulled the original one, but the special edition was one of my personal favorites, because after rewriting that, I also have a surprise snippet at the end for all listeners up there of chill factors. That way it kind of leads into it, because it's one of my personal favorites. Like I said, it's one of those feel good stories, where love triumphs over all. It carries to the holiday season because, like I said, it goes into the title, like it's called Winter Season Series because it's a novella, and each story it builds upon the other as a sequel that takes place in all three winter season holidays. You have Christmas story, you have a New Year story, and as well as a Valentine's Day story. So one of my favorite reads. It doesn't take you very long. It's just something I threw out there, and it's of course available in paperback, ebook, as well as hardcover as well. So,
well, again, I would still like to go dive a little bit into synopsis of that book. Walk me through the characters. Walk me through the story in general, to the extent you can, expose right now in this podcast. The chill factor.
absolutely. Well, as far as for chill factor, that actually they all exist in the same universe. So with chill factor, that's one of those books and stuff that you really have to kind of brace yourself for, because I pulled from all the drama and all the stuff I possibly can to put that together, because we have different says that in here says that we do, like just expressions that we all put out. So I decided to say, what happens if all those expressions were personified as characters? So there's things like once a cheater, always a cheater. You have good things come to those who wait, different things that we say. And I thought about what happens if we decide to personify those as characters, and how those, and most importantly, how those individual character arcs intertwine with one another. Like how would good things come to those who wait intertwine with somebody who believes that that good is not always good enough, or how would once cheater always a cheater interact with somebody who actually is you want what you can't have. And so we decided to take 4 characters personified with all 4 of those character traits and have their stories intertwine with one another to see how they work. And there's definitely a lot of trial and tribulation going. There's betrayals, there's mispraise, but not to give too much away, because it's one of my darkest writing so far, up until just as a teaser. A planned sequel is in the works for that as well.
I was going to ask you about that. What is in the shelf that you're working on right now?
Well, next up, actually, we're going to go back to where it all started with the story Night Shift, but I decided to retitle it to Night Shift Origin Season Series. So that way it goes hand in hand with Night Shift Winter Season Series. So that way they go together to complete the anthology. And that is actually going to be released on Christmas Eve. I'm currently putting the finishing touches on that now.
That is so incredible. Thank you so much, Marcus, for your time and your insight into, the journey that you've completed so far, and you're still working on it. The last question that I have to you is that how can one step into creative writing? What suggestions would you have to somebody who'd like to start writing probably a story, a novel, a book, a poem? What would be the first step?
Well, the first step is, like, once you have a story and an idea with it, just run with it and see how far it takes you, whether it's just a simple poem, whether it's a short story, or even evolves to a novel. Just see where that creativity takes you. And once you've done that, go ahead and put it out there to masses if you choose to do so. Like, the biggest thing I've learned is just to simply go for it, and you'll pick up the pieces later, because when I first released Night Shift Winter Season Series, it had about 196 grammatical errors, like when I actually, on the original manuscript, when I published it. So what I did, I got people engaged with it, and I just literally went back and just looked over it, rewrote it, and put it right back out. And that's where the Night Shift Winter Season Special Edition came about, because that's literally a rewrite and also to give you a glimpse of what's next. So my advice, just do it. See where the creativity takes you.
Sure. Thank you so much for the valuable information. I really appreciate your time. One more time. We'll see you again. Absolutely. And probably when your new book is out there, I'm currently reading The Chill Factor. And after that, I'm going to buy the next one that you're going to release. And that I'm sure that's going to be a wonderful piece of art as well. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you again for having me.